Alright, back in the saddle. Not feeling my best right now. Just finished being pretty sick for the last about an hour, honestly. Whenever we finished that last video, whatever that was. Whew. So I've been kind of wrecked at this point, trying to reorganize my brain here. So, body's going through a flare of my illness. We'll recuperate. We'll work on it. Whew. All right, so, yikers. I do think that it's entirely possible that the file that I had a lot of this stored on is no longer in existence or buried in an archive somewhere that I can't get to right now. So I don't know if I dry heave during this. I'm sorry. So I don't know that I can reclaim the file that I was using anytime soon. So I'm just going to start over from scratch. Using the basic story idea that I was working with. Ooh, golly. Settle down. Ease off on me there. I think I might have food poisoning or my illness is flaring. There's very little difference between the two. Okay, so what are we trying to pull up here? Okay, so... Oh, man. That's the other thing that does to me. Whenever I get this sick, I get very tired very fast. All right, so what we're going to be working on is, let's pull up to building a new file. Please don't do that to me right now. I do not have the energy to fight you on that. Okay, so our You Choose Adventures. I have the Captain Cosmos Adventures. I want to do the audio adventure game that I was working on, which is the Arch Space Cadet. And then a trivia puzzle. Do audio and a video trivia puzzle. So that's what we're going to work on. And then, oh, the other thing I came up with last night, I think it was last night, maybe it was the night before, where I was going to play around with making a dice roller. Oh, excuse me. Oh, thank God. That was so nice. I was afraid I was going to heave. Okay, that's a little bit better. Okay, so, sorry. It's disgusting, but it's one of those puzzles, one of those problems that comes along with a digestive ailment. All right, so dice and spinners. Spinners. Video for playing games. Video. That's going to be an interesting one, and that was probably going to be the easiest one to do. It's sort of just doing a stop motion animation of a dice roll and a spinner spinning and have them as videos and then decrease their size and have them as video segments within some of the game videos that I do. I don't think there's any way to do a playable board game as a... Yeah, like those have too many variables of what a player can do. Like I'm thinking like a game of chess or a game of Mancala or checkers or even backgammon or um, like a Candyland or things like Chutes and Ladders. It'd be fun if I could figure out how to do that as a video, but if I were to do that, you'd have a spinner or a dice that rolls for you, and then you'd have to choose between, if it's 2 dice, then it's going to be 12 options of what happens after the first round. Now, I could do it as if your opponent, the other player, is always going to play the same game. So they're always going to roll the same dice. They're always going to make the same moves. That removes that one from the equation. But what your dice rolls or spinner moves do, you're going to have 12 options from the first segment, and every segment after that is going to be like that. And that's just if it's a dice roll or a spinner spin to move you across the board. If you have something like you land on this spot, draw a card, do what the card tells you to, that adds however many cards there are in that deck as random opportunities of different things to happen. I suppose we could decrease the number of potential outcomes for each of those things to simplify the randomness of the game. I'd be curious. I'll have to think about that a little bit, contemplate the consequences and possibilities of maybe doing a very simple board game. But if it's a board game, it's almost entirely going to have to rely on chance. There's not a lot of, well, that's not true. I could do a few of those choose the path kind of stories for gameplay. I got to really think about this, honestly, because it might be possible to do a playable board game demo using the choose your own. That would be so interesting. Like instead of doing a standard review for a board game, like when I try out a board game like this one, like I could feasibly set it up so that each turn the player gets, there are 3 potential paths that they could take for that. Oh, this one's a little bit hard because it involves the placement of pieces on a board, so the board changes depending on how the player plays. But yeah, it would be kind of fun to be able to do a playable board game as a YouTube video review. Now, I won't be able to review a lot of games that way, but maybe not as a review. As demos, or maybe not even a full game. Maybe that's what we need to think about here, or I need to think about. I don't know what you guys are thinking about, but maybe as just like a single turn in a multi-turn game. So, and say like a game of like just demoing this one. It would be like a practice turn or two where I would lay a tile, you would make the choice of which choices I give you for what you could do, and then you would pick how that goes down as an example of the different types of gameplay. Yeah, that would be kind of an interesting way to do game reviews. Like, this is how the rules of this game work. Like that Oregon Trail game. The cards you're going to draw are going to be the same pretty much each turn that we demo, but yeah, it might be tricky. but I think it'd be worthwhile to explore the opportunity to maybe do it that way. Okay, I'll have to type that down. Board game demo turn video. Putting it down, I don't think I'll get to it this week, but it's definitely something to consider on the list. Could I do something like that for each of the other categories? Could I do... It'd be hard to do for a book. Because I can't read certain sections without risking copyright problems. Movies. I mean, the real choice in that kind of thing that would be worth exploring would be like, which movie do we do? And I'm not going to do 2 different movies every time and let somebody pick which one they want to see the review for. But potentially for something like board games, product or service maybe? Just trying out a product or a service and then see what kind of... It's still kind of hard to do. But taste tests, that might be a little difficult to do, but I could probably figure something out. Art or music, I could do something for that, I think. And video games, maybe get people to choose your own adventure out a section of a video game that I'm playing. Or give them a sample of, part of the game play. That'd be interesting to try to do. Health and fitness. That could be kind of stupid, but I could have a little bit of fun with that. Where I could do make an endless loop where you could, do we do push-ups now or do we do another set of squats? Which do you want to see me do? And then, but that sounds kind of lame, but yeah, I don't know. We'll figure something out. I don't think we can do one for each category, but maybe for some of the artwork or video games or more of the... I could probably do some... I could probably figure something out for books and movies, board games, art, video games. I might be able to figure something out for each of those categories. But for right now, let's focus on trivia puzzles, Captain Cosmos Adventures, and Ark Space Cadet. Provided I don't have this illness flaring for several days, I want to try to see if I can do the recording of the audio game. And then by the end of the week, I want to see if I can get the Captain Cosmos first chapter done. So I'm sort of behind the 8 ball on this one at this point because I have to rebuild the entire script for what I started it with. And I really liked what I had. And I'm frustrated that I had to do it because I had built out the individual choices. Like this one was, how do you pursue with this? And then this one takes you in this direction. This one takes you in this direction. And I don't have those splits anymore. I don't have the structure built for it anymore. So it's just fabricating it from the whole start over again. I do also want to get back to Fae Town Noir and rebuild that one. Because I put the first quarter to a third of it up. and it's still there. I think I need to put it on private because it doesn't work anymore. Despite what YouTube said, they originally said they were going to leave the annotations on older videos, but they deleted those. All my annotations are gone, so the story structure doesn't flow right. And so I have to redo that. I have to rebuild that some way. That one, I'm not even sure I have the script to that one anymore, which sucks. Like, it's on a hard drive somewhere. It may be on this computer here, but it may be on my laptop. Might be in my spare hard drive. Might be on the SD cards. But the trick is, this laptop is the replacement for the replacement of my old computer that I started recording these videos on, which is busted. I might be able to fix it, but I can't access what's on the hard drive of that right now. And that's going to be possibly where some of these files are. So of course that's where they're going to be, because it's going to make it that much harder for me to do it. I will just see if I can rebuild. Try to remember what I wrote the script for Captain Cosmos to be. It was, you're at a yard sale, a stranger comes up looking frantic, looking for something, and you can either get swept up with them and become an assistant to them, or you can stand back and avoid them, and then when people come looking for that same character, you can help those people out. Or you can try to figure out what's going on your own. So that was sort of like the three-way split for that one. It was partner with the stranger, partner with the people hunting the stranger, or sort of a middle ground of trying to figure things out on your own. And then at one point you head out on a bus to try to track down where this person is headed, or you're with them. Yeah, I have to really sort it out. Like, building the structure for a choose your own adventure story is difficult because it's branching. At every chunk of the story that is a reasonable place to do it, the story branches. And so for Captain Cosmos, I believe what I had going on was you either become an assistant to Captain Cosmos, you become a sort of an organization that's trying to capture anomalies. Not quite Men in Black, because that comes in later. And then there was the option that you get into a store and find yourself accidentally becoming a secret agent. That one was a little weirdly funny. That one was a little more along the lines of, you stumble into a store, somebody says a phrase to you that's kind of weird, and you respond back with a snarky comment, not realizing that that snarky comment is the passphrase that gets you involved in aspiring. And yeah, that one was a little weird. And that was going to be one of the loose ends that I left hanging so that I could come back and do a whole different type of story with it. The one where you're actually trying to help the people hunting down the stranger is eventually going to lead you to... It's not a government agency, really. What it is it's a little bit more of like a person who accumulates or acquires special items. It's sort of like a not quite mob, but a rich, powerful person who's acquiring these unique and special items because they potentially grant him an advantage in some way. And he has his footmen to do a lot of that for him, and you could be recruited into that kind of organization. The third option of becoming an assistant gets you towards the sort of portal at the end of the episode that leads to the next part of the main storyline that I'm building around. So the option for the other ones that sort of open-ended hanging storylines are there, but the main one I want to focus on is getting into the portal, and then the situation gets to a point where you're in a fight to help Captain Cosmos do what he needs to do to open the portal. And depending on how that fight goes, the story either ends there, and that's the end of episode 1 of the series, or you find yourself wrapped up in this cross-worlds adventure, and the very next story starts you out with a situation that you find yourself in where your choice of picking a side in a conflict that you find yourself in immediately from the beginning sets you up as either a Men in Black kind of character or a prisoner and associate of a prisoner of the Men in Black, being interrogated about your connection to Captain Cosmos, and the consequences of that interaction splits into a couple other choices. And you're going to be in a different world, so it's not going to be like our world there. And then from there, it was sort of which path are you going to take on that one? And both of those paths, the Men in Black and the associate of Captain Cosmos storylines, would be continuing towards a longer storyline. Those two are sort of like key story elements that both are going to lead towards the ending storyline, but from different perspectives. And that's mostly what I remember. I have to chart it out to really get a full recall of most of what I can recover mentally of what I had in that series. But it's going to be sort of like a harrowing adventure through multiple worlds. I believe I had a cyberpunk world. I can't remember if I went with a Kung Fu Fighters world or if I went with a little more standard fantasy trope universe. And there was I can't remember like the other 2 or 3 worlds. I do know what the last world in the line was going to be, and it's going to spell out the answer to the questions that are brought up by the whole series. So I do think that there's potential to rebuild it. It's going to take more work than, because I had it all charted out. I can't find it anywhere. That drives me nuts. But I can't keep hemming and hawing about it. I can start the first episode of the serial and maybe even do the first 2 episodes, because I got that far into the script, still kind of percolating in here. And that's going to be 1, 2, with the lead into 3, 4 videos. And they're all going to be not super long, but definitely sizable videos. Arch Space Cadet is just the simple story with 3 puzzles to solve. Trivia puzzles, now those should be actually relatively quick to put together. It's literally just coming up with riddles, puzzles, and trivia questions with a multiple choice answer option. In the case of the audio trivia, it's going to be a binary choice. In the case of the video trivia, I can do a full multiple choice adventure. Well, not an adventure, trivia. So those might be easier to see if I can knock 1 or 2 out in the next day or so. It's the Arch Space Cadet might be possible to do in the next 2 or 3 days. It's Captain Cosmos that's going to be the real trick by the end of the week. So let's plan on me doing over the next 24 hours, see if I can knock out the 2 trivia type games. And then by Thursday, see if I can get the Space Cadet one done. And in the meantime, I will be scripting out the at least first episode of Captain Cosmos for hopefully by the end of Friday, at the latest on Saturday. I might be able to do the dice and the board spinner too. I will sit and think a little bit about those board game designs too. Doing a board game demo piece with a choose your own adventure style play. It might be an interesting way to do game instructions. Really gonna have to think about that a little bit. I'd give that a try. All right, so we're coming up on a half an hour of this video here. I'm going to head out and do the last episode of Russian Doll tonight. I hope we get some answers. I'm a little brain boggled by that right now. But tomorrow should be the creative prompts inspired by taste tests. And I still have to do a product or service video this week. So product and service, we did taste tests. That puts us at music, video games, and health and well-being remaining. So that could be next week. How many am I getting in this week? I'm doing taste test, product, music, and then next week would be video games, health and well-being, and summary for the month, I guess. I want to pop in something new for the end of the month. And then starting next month is October, where I'm going to do something a little bit different. I think what I'm going to probably end up doing is a short story anthology, a story a day for the month. And then November, I think I'm going to do something similar for TV anthology series, an episode a day for the month. And that should be reasonable enough. I will do both in the same day, the review and the creative prompts for each day. The creative projects I will be doing during that time are, I'm going to do a slightly different spin on some of this stuff, I think. Let's see, where did I build my list? And that's not going to be it, is it? And up, 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 up. Yeah, I think that's the other side. Hang on. Let me pull that over. Social media. Okay, October. So short story anthology, one story a day, review and rate, and then creative prompts. projects for October are going to be a little changed up in order. I'm going to do a food one, a video one, a board game one, and a product development. I think I'm going to probably do, see if I can build a controller that would audio shift for those audio puzzle games that I was working on last week. Make the device that lets it split it so I can have 4 or maybe even 6 different channels to choose from. And then I do know what I'm doing for the video. I kind of want to have it be a surprise. The video project in October. And then November is TV show reviews, 1 episode per day review, and then creative prompts for each. And the projects are going to be the writing project of, and that's part of the reason I did the shift, was November is not National Novel Writing Month. And since I will be writing all of November, I thought it'd be fun to do like updates on what I'm writing each day. And then artwork, a special video for that one. And then the start of, well, I have the YouTube game videos that I can do more for video game topics in November. And I have to cover the protein focused diet and the start of weight training for November. And then December is going to be sort of rounding up the year at that point. And I may do mini projects that month. Or vlogging, I'm not sure. December is when they do a lot of like Vlogmas kind of stuff. I've never done that. I'm not much of a vlogger, but I can give it a go. Just kind of report on how I'm doing with certain things. All right, so that's sort of where we are right now. I've got, see you in about 11:30 East Coast time for last episode of Russian Dolls. A Russian Doll. And then I think we're done for tonight. Tomorrow is taste test, creative prompts, and then proceed from there. Yeah, I think that's probably the way we're going to go with that. All right. See you for that in a bit. And if you're not in for a Russian Doll tonight, that's okay. I'll catch you later. I'll be around tomorrow. Have a good night and take care. Man, my brain's all over the place right now. That last episode of Russian Doll really was a head game for me. On top of having my illness flare, yeah, I'm having a little bit of a what the heck is going on kind of brain right now. All right. See you in a bit.